Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching the Rams-Bills post-game roundup, where I take a deep dive into the game, the snap counts, the PFF grades, and a couple of things that I liked and didn't like once I've had some time to let things marinate and kind of come down off of that crazy game. But first things first, if you haven't subscribed, you're just coming around to this Rams content for the first time, please do so. I think there's like a little button here. Just hover over it, boom, subscribe. Everyone, turn on your notifications so you know when I drop new episodes or when I go live. And then also you can find me on Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk and Instagram at LA Rams Talk. I'm also part of the Fan to Fan Network. I collab with those guys. Going to try and do something with Kid Blue from the Giants this week in anticipation for that matchup. Just like I did something with the Real Dan Mitchell on his channel in lead up to the Bills game. So yeah, for also one other thing, want to thank everyone for jumping on, all the new subscribers, all the old subscribers, all the comments, all the likes, all the discourse, everyone that showed up to the live stream. It was a post-game live stream. That was good times. Finished a beer on that live stream. It was kind of a weird time. I'm glad we could all process it together. I think I'm going to be doing a pre-game live stream before the Giants game because it is a little bit later kickoff, 1 p.m. Pacific time. So we'll do a pregame live stream. Let me know what you think about that. So Rams fans, I just want to tell you something and maybe put everything in perspective after this game, after this disappointment, after this gut-wrenching loss, is that as bad as you think life is because of this loss, at least you don't live in Buffalo, right? I mean, we can all have that takeaway, is at least we don't live in Buffalo. Unless there are some Ram fans in Buffalo, I highly doubt that, but it could be worse. It could be worse. Think of the bright side. And Buffalo fans, yeah, I'm tweaking you right there. Hey, Buffalo fans, have at it. So I think the elephant in the room is the pass interference call. Now, while I think that call decided the game, it did not cost the Rams the game. I feel so many other plays where the Rams melted down on defense, those cost the Rams the game. Going to a 28-3 hole cost the Rams the game. Missing a field goal cost the Rams the game. Giving up a 3rd and 22 conversion cost the Rams the game. So there are so many different things you can look at that cost the Rams the game. I don't think that call did. And looking at it more, I didn't want to, coming off the game, I didn't want to complain about it. I'm still not going to complain about it. But if you ask me, my honest opinion is that that is not pass interference. And the reason why I say that is, yes, both players are engaged in one another. But just because you're the offensive player and the route says go straight, you can't just run into the DB. And if you look at it, and Bills fans, like just take off your Bills colored glasses and look at it. Davis is extending into Darius Williams, right? Darius Williams is definitely pressing him and up in him, and the contact lasts after 5 yards, but they're both engaging. He's not just being held so where he can't make a move. They're both like this, right? And the ball is thrown, and Davis doesn't even know the ball's coming. He couldn't, if he wasn't touched at all, he can't even make a play on that. And I think that's the problem that Rams fans have. And I think if you look at most media outlets for once, they're saying the same thing. Like, I can say that Nickel Roby-Coleman obviously hit the Saints player, and that was pass interference. I can say that. I can say the interception that Josh Allen threw wasn't really an interception. I can say that because unbiased, that, bad call. That play at the end was a bad call. And I think to put things in a ref's hand, to have this massive comeback nullified because of a bad call. I mean, do any Bills fans watching this actually believe that Darius Williams prevented Gabriel Davis from catching that ball? Do you think the ball was there? He was turning just out of his break, and the ball was already whizzing by. Like, just kind of like, oh, you threw the ball here? So that's just a tough pill to swallow for Rams fans, because, when you see a comeback like that, Like you just don't want to see it in the hands of a ref. Like they should at least huddled around. There should have been something. And I think that should be that way with everything. And I don't know how they missed that interception. And when I'm going to just talk about that interception that Josh Allen threw wasn't an interception. Just like the interception Goff threw against Dallas wasn't an interception because hands to the face. But Bills fans say that play changed the momentum of the game, the interception that wasn't. I know that didn't change the momentum of the game. That wasn't when the score was 28-3. The Rams had already come down and scored a touchdown. It was 28-10. And it was 1st and 20 on the Bills' 19-yard line. And that, if it wasn't an interception, was going to be offensive pass interference, which is 10 yards. So it probably would have been 1st and 30 or something like that on the 9, on Buffalo's 9, right? And maybe they reel off a couple plays and they get the first down. But the odds aren't likely. So don't tell me that was the momentum shift. The Rams were already marked or had already scored a touchdown, and that would have made it 1st and 30 on the 9. And I think that would have also been momentum for the Rams. So regardless, let's add context to this, please. So if the Bills had to ended up punting on that drive, then it would have, then that's where the interception pretty much occurred, maybe a little deeper in the Rams territory. But I will say this. The vaunted Bills defense really didn't stop the Rams at all. You look in the first half of that game, Rams kick off the ball, stop the Bills 3 and out. Rams get the ball, march down the field, and then it was a missed kick, right? Then the Rams get the ball again after the Bills score a touchdown, and it's an interception. Then the Rams get the ball again, and then they marched down, but nothing happened. So the Rams offense, the Rams had more yards, more passing yards, more rushing yards, more first downs, more time of possession. They were 6 for 10 on 3rd downs. They were 3 for 4 in the red zone, where Buffalo was 5 for 5. So, the Rams really, I wasn't too worried about their offense in the first half. They just weren't converting, right? So this wasn't a momentum thing. The Rams really just kept doing what they were doing in the second half and scored points. And they made a lot of second half adjustments. Now, I really want to talk about what Sean McVay did in this game, because to me, Sean McVay was the star. And I'm going to tell you why. He stayed with the run. And as Ram fans, how frustrating was it last year? And I keep going back to the Super Bowl. And through last year, was it where last year the Rams abandoned the run when they're down 28-3. And then Goff just goes pass happy, throws 3 interceptions. That's what would have happened last year, happened against the Buccaneers. But when the Rams were down 28-3, or in the second half, you know what they did? They had 14 rushes and 14 passes. He stuck with the game plan. The second half adjustments, what he said, when he said he liked the look in his players' eyes after the game. You know what that look was? Motivation. So this team didn't quit. Sean McVay made the right calls, except for that when they turned the ball over, they went for it on 4th down. Sorry, I missed that one. So they didn't quit, which is awesome. So even though the Rams lost this game, it still doesn't feel like a loss, because it wasn't in division, because they played a top 3 AFC team on the East Coast 2nd week in a row. One of the best defenses they'll face all year, and this is how the Rams performed. They didn't quit. A lot of teams would have kind of packed it up and packed it in, and this is something special that the Rams have with McVay and with a lot of the chemistry of these players. You go back to that Kansas City Monday night game, when you had the shooting in Thousand Oaks and you had the fires going on, and it was just crazy times. And the team bonded, and they have that chemistry, and they don't quit. You have real leaders on this team. And the offense looks really, really good. This is the best I've seen Goff play this year. Last week was, against Philly was kind of the best I'd seen him play this year, but he's evolving. He's doing great. So there are so many positives to take out of this game. Buffalo fans are saying, you're not going to drop 30 on us. Well, we dropped 32. And it should have been 32-28. My prediction was 33-24, so not that far off. Anyways, the Rams are 7th in the NFC, and so right now they would make the playoffs, but I really feel that they are easily a top 5 team in the NFC. Behind the Seahawks right now are just playing great, and the Packers. So I feel like the Rams are in good position. They win the next 2 games, Washington and Giants. They'll be 4-1. But let's just talk about the things that really put the Rams in the hole. These are the things that cost the Rams the game. Bad field position. And if there's one thing I'm really upset with Samuel Sloman with, it's not the missed 53-yarder into the wind. It's a 53-yarder, okay? It's not a chip shot. If he's missing chip shots, the first kick he ever had, then I'm having a problem. But come on. Let's just take it easy on that. It could be worse. But the problem I have is just not kicking it deep in the end zone. The first kickoff, he kicks it to the 5-yard line. Guy returns it to the 42. Gives the Bills great field position, the 42. Then the Rams get the ball back. They miss the kick, and now the Bills have it at the 43. Then the Rams get the ball back, and Goff throws an interception, and now the Bills have it at the 34. And then the Rams get the ball back, and they go for it on 4th down and don't make it. And this is what started in the second half, and that's on the 48-yard line. So all these times they give it to Buffalo, the 42, the 43, the 34, the 48. You're not putting your defense in good positions there. Now, speaking of the defense, the lapses, you can't give up 35 points in a game and expect to win. You just can't. So there are a lot of reasons why. I think when Fuller went out after 8 snaps is all he played, and Rapp came in, and I think a lot of people want to rip Rapp. I don't think Rapp played terrible, but because I think it was a full team effort of not communicating. Jalen Ramsey didn't communicate. Troy Hill sure as hell didn't communicate. So Micah Kaiser miscommunication, Rapp miscommunication, John Johnson miscommunication. It was across the board. How many plays did you see a cornerback or a linebacker or a safety kind of trailing someone and then stop, and then the receiver, the tight end, just goes out and no one's there, and he catches the ball, and then they're turning around yelling at the other guy hey, what? When you see that body language of them turning around hey, I thought I was supposed to have help here. That was happening all the time in the first half, and even the first drive in the second half for the Bills. It was happening all the time. So I think that was mainly because Fuller went out of the game. Fuller's been great at communication. He's better in coverage than Rapp is. And I think losing Fuller, it's kind of weird. You lose your 6th-round pick, and you're like, oh, that was a huge deal. But it really was a huge deal defensively and communication-wise. The word on Fuller is a shoulder injury, and that he should play this weekend against the Giants. So then you have the tackling. The tackling was atrocious. I watched the all 22, and I went down and I logged a lot of this stuff in. There was after the missed kick, and the Bills got the ball back on the 43. Troy Hill blitzed. He was untouched, cornerback blitz, untouched off the edge, and just whiffed on. And Singletary got the handoff on the same side. So it wasn't like Singletary was on the other side of Josh Allen. On the same side. And he just whiffed, just went right by him. It was, watching this stuff was infuriating. And then you had the next play, the Hill and Williams. They both had missed tackles on a play. Then you had Ebicom, came off the edge untouched, whiffed, kind of jumped up, whiffed, and fell down, on Josh Allen. He had a clear shot to Josh Allen and didn't even touch him, didn't even get a hand on him. There are 2 out of 3 plays where the Rams had open shots on a Bill player and didn't even touch him. Terrible. Then you go to the next play, Hill misses a tackle. Then you go to the next play, Hill whiffs on Singletary as he got this little pitch out and runs towards the goal line. And then that was the 4th and 1 TD where Ramsey didn't take the tight end across. So on that drive, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 Hill missed tackles. Hill led the entire team with 7 missed tackles. No one else on the team had more than 1. So this was really not a good game for Troy Hill. And I like Troy Hill, but he didn't have a good game, and it happens, right? So the tackling was just atrocious in the first half. Also in the first half, 0 sacks. So we'll get into this, but the pressure was just non-existent in this game. Actually, I can tell. Yeah, the pass rush had 4 sacks in the second half: 2 by AD, 1 by Morgan Fox, and 1 by Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd, okay, we'll just flip this since I'm talking about the defense. By the way, if you're still here and haven't subscribed, do so, please, thank you. Leonard Floyd, he had 56 snaps. Ebicom had 30. Obo and Hollins each had 15 from the outside linebacker position. Floyd has graded out as a 70 in Pro Football Focus. Obo is 90th. And Ebicom is dead last, 109. But if it's any consolation, Dante Fowler is 107. So Dante Fowler is actually having a crappy year. But Ebicom, I actually had high hopes for him. And I swear every time I watched Ebicom in there, he just wasn't getting off of blocks. And a lot of these blocks were tight ends. So like if you're a big bulked up edge rushing guy and you're not winning against a tight end constantly, that's a problem. But I'll tell you this about Leonard Floyd, which is very weird and very strange, is he has 2 sacks through 3 games. And if you extrapolate that over 16 games, that puts him at least 10 sacks. Does it seem like Leonard Floyd is going to get 10 sacks this year? Like if he got 10 sacks, that would be a career high for him. And you'd look at it on paper and be like, yeah, Leonard Floyd, he's kicking ass this year. And I mean, it just seems, it doesn't really add up to me. And so that's kind of interesting. Like I said, Ebicom, he had 3 pressures and a missed sack. The linebackers, Kaiser had, he's rated 61st by Pro Football Focus, and he was targeted 5 times, and the Bills had 4 receptions, 3 of which went for first downs, and those all receptions for 63 yards and a touchdown. And that touchdown was to the tight end at the last play, and it was a crossing route. He was just late to get there, and they torched him in coverage. And it reminds me of when the Rams played the Vikings in 2018, and the game plan was go right after Anthony Barr, the linebacker of the Vikings. He wasn't great in coverage, and they burned him every time. They picked on him. And I feel like that's kind of what this was here, because Kenny Young is more the coverage linebacker and Micah Kaiser is more the run stopper. But they put the Bills offense, credit to them, put the Rams in position to have Micah Kaiser in coverage and make plays, which he didn't. And I like Micah Kaiser. Like I said, a lot of these stats, a lot of these numbers are based off of 3 games. We've played 3 good teams. I mean, the Eagles, I guess, kind of are a crappy team. But, we've played against good offensive lines. All 3 teams have had really good offensive lines. And I think you're going to see, this is my prediction, you're going to see a lot of these defensive guys increase their grades, have fewer missed tackles, get more sacks, get more pressures, get more hurries. You're going to see a lot of this happen in the next 2 weeks against the Giants and the Redskins, which it's time. It's time to do that. So you look at, their grades and how they stack up amongst other players, but other players from other teams have played a lot of cupcake competition. The Rams haven't. So it's time on the schedule to really pad those stats and show what you can do. And the cornerbacks, Jalen Ramsey is rated 7th. He allowed 2 catches on 5 targets. Both of those catches were for touchdowns, 1 to Stephon Diggs. And that was more of a technique situation against Stephon Diggs. A good throw by Josh Allen. The other one was the crossing route with the tight end where Taylor Rapp ended up on him, but it was really Jalen Ramsey's guy. You saw him sulk with his head down after the tight end caught it because he knew. Darius Williams, he had 4 targets, 2 receptions, 50 yards. He had an okay game, I felt. And I'm not upset, or I don't blame him for that final play. Like, that was kind of a ticky-tack call that went against him. But I felt Darius Williams had an okay game. He was rated 51st in Pro Football Focus. Troy Hill rated 9th in Pro Football Focus, and he laid the turd of the game. That was Troy Hill. So, and going into the game, Brandon Staley was saying he's one of our better tacklers. So, let's just hope that that's true. And this was just a blip on the radar for Troy Hill. I think Troy Hill might actually be better suited on the outside. So this experiment with him inside is really, really not working out. But like I said, though, like, they've played the Cowboys and they've played the Bills, both with really good receiver trios. Even though the Bills kind of were at a duo because John Brown was out. But I think once you play the Giants, we'll see. Like I said, let's see how Troy Hill does against the Giants and the Redskins, teams that really just suck. And when I say Redskins, I mean a Washington football team, old habits there. JJ is a 31st rated safety, and when that tight end leaked out and wasn't covered at all, that was, I think, JJ's guy, so he missed that one. And Rapp rated at a 60. But I think Rapp is still getting into the swing of things. So now let's talk about the offense, because the offense pretty much is all good. If you've made it this far, this is where the good news is, because how happy are we? Like, when you watch this offense play, it is night and day compared to last year. This is like 2018. The Rams have put up the 20 against Dallas, 37 against Philly, 32 against Buffalo, a good defense. And it's all because, like, when you build a foundation or when you build a house, it's all about the foundation. If you get the foundation wrong, the house is going to crumble. And our foundation is our offensive line. And our offensive line is, through 3 games, back in blue. So not having Noteboom in there, I think this is just how it's going to roll. I think Noteboom lost his starting job, because I'm going to go through the Pro Football Focus scores of each of our offensive linemen. Whitworth, 2nd in tackles. Havenstein, 10th among tackles. Both of our tackles are top 10. All right, this is shades of 2018. Blythe, 8th out of all the centers. Edwards, 9th, and Corbett, 24th out of all the guards. So essentially, we have 4 guys in the top 5 for offensive linemen in Pro Football Focus's grades. That is amazing. You go to last year, Noteboom was in the 60s. You go to last year, I mean, it was a complete shit show with our offensive line, with injuries and everything. Corbett, though, he hasn't been great in pass blocking. He excels more in run blocking, which has been great, because you get that first part of the foundation where the offensive line is just doing what they want, protecting Goff, and opening running lanes. And so then that just feeds everything. And the Rams are a running team. They had 167 rushing yards in this game. Like, this is crazy. Seeing this running attack by Darrell Henderson. Did anyone have this? I didn't know. I didn't know Darrell Henderson was going to be the guy. And Darrell Henderson should be the guy until he's not the guy anymore. No matter what happens with Cam Akers next week or the week after, this should really be the Henderson show until he proves he can't do it. And I don't see that going, because Henderson is the number 1 rated running back by Pro Football Focus. Last week he had 20 rushes for 114 yards, coming off a 12 for 81. Both games with a touchdown, 12 for 81 against Philly. He had 5 10-plus rushes in this game, with his longest being 14. I mean, going back to last year, when's the last time? Like, do you recall Todd Gurley breaking off a 10-yard run plus last year? Like, very few and far between. And Darrell Henderson hits the hole hard and fast. He gets the ball and he's through. He sees the opening. He's not dancing. He's not indecisive. I felt like Gurley, his second year with the Rams, was kind of indecisive, and last year was a little indecisive, and those holes closed up quick, because the offensive line sucked. But he's basically second best in the NFL, or like, when he has the ball, he spends 2.5 seconds behind the line of scrimmage, which is the second fastest in the NFL. So from when he gets the ball to when he gets through the hole, it's 2.5 seconds, which is the second fastest. So he's not wasting any time. He's decisive and he's bursting through. And it wouldn't surprise me to see next week have him bust off a lengthy run, like for a touchdown, or even a catch for a touchdown. So Darrell Henderson, I think this is just great. It's almost like when you find $20 in your pant pocket that you haven't worn those pants in a week, and you're like, oh yeah, forgot, $20. Like, that's what Darrell Henderson is. He's kind of like found money. So I'm really happy about Henderson. And you know, when Akers comes back and Brown, you just maybe mix it in a little bit, keep them fresh for the year, because this is a real big workload. Now let's also talk about Jared Goff. Oh, Jared Goff's looking great. He's looking great. And with all this Josh Allen stuff, like you watch that game, and I really don't want to take anything away from Josh Allen, but he didn't do anything for me to think that he was like the MVP of the league. Like a top 5 quarterback, yes. But Russell Wilson's playing way better, I think, right? So I think Goff is, well, I don't think. Goff is a top 8 quarterback in the league. He's top 8, but he's not flashy. No one talked about Jared Goff after this game. No one said anything about Jared Goff. Nothing. He threw for more yards. He rushed for a touchdown, right? He had Jared Goff this year is the 3rd highest rated quarterback by Pro Football Focus. He is 3rd in the NFL at passes over 20 yards. So he's throwing the ball downfield. They're not just check down dinks and dunks. He's 7th in QBR at 76 compared to 50 last year. Massive jump from last year to this year. Passer rating, he is 8th at 109 versus 86.5, which he was last year. He's 8th in yards because they run the ball a lot, so he's not asked to throw it that much. And he's 10th in completion percentage because, you know, he throws a lot of balls into the ground when the play doesn't develop, which is great. Don't throw an interception. So I can't say more about Jared Goff. He's back. He's looking great. McVay's put him in a great spot to succeed. This is really good to see. Kupp, Woods, Reynolds, and Van Jefferson. Kupp had a great game. He's the 2nd highest rated receiver by Pro Football Focus. And what's really cool about Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, when you look in Pro Football Focus, they have a couple grades like a pass grade or a pass catching grade, a running grade, I think, or something. And then overall and pass catching. And then they have 2 more fields that barely any other receivers have numbers for. And that's pass catching and pass blocking and run blocking. And he and Woods have those fields filled out with data, but a lot of other receivers don't. Like, I'd say 90% of the receivers in there don't get graded on those because most of the time they're not doing it. Or the Pro Football Focus people are lazy. But I don't see any grades for like DeAndre Hopkins for that. So like, they're such well-rounded receivers. So Cooper Kupp on 3rd down is money. He was money in this game. No one's thinking about the muffed punt from the Philly game. 9 catches, 107 yards, a TD. Robert Woods, 5 catches, 74 yards, a TD. Josh Reynolds, 4 catches for 60 yards. Great game by Josh Reynolds. And Van Jefferson laid a goose egg, only had 8 snaps. And I don't know if he ran the right route on that Goff interception, but didn't really see much of Van Jefferson at all. And gosh, Cooper Kupp and Josh Reynolds were tied for the same amount of snaps at 62. So yeah, Van Jefferson hardly saw the field. Higbee, 50 snaps versus Everett's 28. Everett had a really nice catch there. But they were keeping Higbee into block because to mitigate the pressure that was coming in the first half. So Higbee kind of was a non-factor receiving, but he was great just being a blocker. So, and one last thing I forgot to mention on the defensive side of the ball, it goes without saying, Aaron Donald, amazing game. I mean, like that play where he just threw Josh Allen down like a rag doll and like picked up the fumble. I mean, that was just, like, everyone says, oh, Aaron Donald's a beast and I can't stop Aaron Donald. Like, I think the world really is waking up to Aaron Donald if they haven't. If people have any questions, Aaron Donald was a freaking beast. Like, you can't really say, I don't even know what to say about him. But, like, I guess just watch out Daniel Jones next week for the Giants because he's going to drink your milkshake. So real quickly, to sum it all up, what I didn't like about this game were the communication and the lapses, especially in the secondary, the tackling issues, and the pass rush was obviously a problem. What I really liked was that this team shows no quit That's what championship teams are made of. No quit. Their offense was clicking and firing. Goff and Henderson, McVay making great calls, staying with the plan, staying with the balance. AD was amazing. And I like that the New York Giants are on the schedule. So rest up, guys. But that's it. That was a lot. That's one of my longest rants about a game. But like, still a lot of respect for Buffalo. Buffalo fans have been pretty cool. But we all know what happened in that game. Either way, no crying in football. So like I said, thank you. If you made it to the end, gold star next to your name. Please subscribe if you haven't. Watch another video and keep an eye out for, I'm going to drop a Rams-Giants preview probably on Friday. So keep an eye out for that live stream before the game, pregame on Sunday. And as always, go Rams.